Thanks so much for tuning into this earnings interaction with Ms. Kiran Mazumdar of Biocon. They've come out yesterday when they came out with the numbers. The standout, according to me, was the revenue growth, which looked very strong. Sure, you could argue that maybe some of it should have translated into the margins, but the questions to her would be around that as to why the dichotomy, if you will, and can that change? And can, as analysts believe, FY22 to 24 be the years of resurrection of the profits, and will her patience pay off? Let's ask all of that. Ms. Shaw, great having you. Thanks for joining and hope all is safe.
Yes, thanks, Neeraj.
Can we talk about the top line first? The revenue growth seemed very impressive. What led to this?
Yes, we had a consolidated revenue growth of 18%. And if you look at the segmental growth, I think this was led by the biologics business, which had a 28% growth. And sequentially too, it was a stellar growth of 32%. And if you look at even the generics business, whilst the year-on-year growth was 7%, even the generics business grew 15% sequentially. So all in all, a very strong set of numbers. I think if you look at even our EBITDA growth, it's been 25% year-on-year. But one thing I wanted to put into perspective, you did mention about why margins were not as strong, and I wanted to put that into perspective. I think there is one element of our accounts this quarter which needs to be looked at in terms of the impact it has had on our numbers, and that is the mark-to-market loss attributable to Biocon Biologics investment in Adagio Therapeutics. So if you were to remove that particular aberration, so to speak, then I think if you recast the numbers, I think they would look very, very strong. So for instance, margins would jump from 24% to 28%. And if you look at even the EBITDA numbers, they would improve from 537 crores to 614 crores. And profit before tax would increase from 269 crores to 346 crores. So if you were to put that into context, because really the mark-to-market loss is not an operational number. So this is an aberration. Perhaps this was not prudent to include it as a P&L kind of a number, but it has been taken as a short-term investment and therefore it hit the P&L. But really it has nothing to do with our operations.
No, actually, pardon me, but when I was doing the numbers based on the BSE release, Ms. Shaw, and I looked at the sequential 26% revenue growth and then compare it, or rather 18.13% revenue growth, and then compare it to just a simple line item like the raw material costing, which went up about 26%. I thought that was probably one more reason why maybe a one-off, but the quarterly margins seemed a bit impacted.
Well, certainly, I think raw material costs are going up and so are logistics costs. But having said that, I think we have a much better product mix, and we also are, halfway in the process of a very important cost efficiency exercise, which I think is also going to contribute to better margins going forward. So all in all, I'm not that concerned. Of course, I think the whole industry is suffering from inflationary effects of the pandemic because costs of input costs are going up because of raw material costs and logistics going up in a way that we can't control. So what we can control is really to improve productivity and to basically look at other aspects of cost efficiencies. So, not much we can do, which is beyond our control, so to speak.
Sure. Okay, let's try and talk about the assimilation of factors which can actually be good. Most notes that I've read since December speak about how, in addition to the steady traction in the already launched biosimilars, the Glargine contract starting from the fourth quarter would be a big tailwind and further supported. If indeed the regulatory clearance comes about for a spot, then that could be the additional kicker. Can you talk a bit about this, Ms. Shaw?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit disappointing to receive a complete response letter for Aspart because we thought we were on the cusp of getting yet another approval for a second insulin analog. But I guess we have to patiently wait for that approval, which I hope will happen sooner than later. So I think that is, unlikely to happen before FY23. So FY23 is when we expect the Aspart approval and the bevacizumab approval. If you remember, bevacizumab is another program that is held up for want of on-site inspection, and COVID has really, come in the way of that inspection as well. So I just hope that even that happens in FY23. So we have two big approvals to look forward to in FY23. And in addition to that, of course, the generics business also has seen a very successful everolimus launch last quarter as a first to launch kind of an event, and which has seen it garner a market share of upwards of 35% of the US generics market. And they also are looking forward to multiple approvals in the last quarter and beyond. So overall, I think we are well positioned with growth drivers. Even the trastuzumab, Ogivri has seen finally an uptick in market share from 10% to 11.4% in December. So that also has gradually started inching up. So I think there's a lot of headroom left for growth, is what I can say.
Glargine ramp up, you expect it to be strong in quarter 4 itself? Very, very strong ramp up?
Well, we hope that the ramp up starts in quarter 4 and beyond.
Rephrase, yeah. Okay. I must tell you, most people are penciling in to start, but anyways, I'm sure you would have asked in the con call as well about that. The other obviously big question that you would have expected about this vaccine business. Now, I mean, it's a big deal. Most people anticipate that it'll probably be second half FY23 onwards that this starts with a bang. Again, you would have spoken about it in the call, but would love to understand from you the whole thesis behind this and how do you see this moving up? Because I'm sure it's not restricted only to COVID vaccines.
Yes, Neeraj. Let me put it this way. First and foremost, I think this is a very interesting deal that we've struck with Serum. The rationale being that as a global healthcare company, we've been focused a lot on NCDs. And I think the pandemic put the spotlight on communicable diseases. And we realized that we had a huge gap in vaccines because that was not something we were looking at. And with that, we felt that this was an opportunity for us to start playing in the vaccine space. As you know, even our arrangement with Adagio is about the pandemic and infectious disease, because we are actually developing an antibody with them to, basically deal with the pandemic. So I think between vaccines and other kind of interventions, which are biologics for infectious diseases, I think there's a huge opportunity for us to play. And that kind of makes us an end-to-end global healthcare kind of a company between generics, biosimilars, and vaccines. And I just feel that the pandemic certainly has, opened up the whole vaccine segment in a very major way. And I think going forward, beyond COVID, I think people are going to be very, very excited about the roles that vaccines can play in disease management. So I, for one, believe that the Serum partnership is going to be a very important partnership going forward. Serum, as you know, has a large repertoire of vaccines beyond COVID, and that's what we hope to play in.
So it's suffice to say, Ms. Shaw, sorry, just last couple of questions before I let you go. But suffice to say that October onwards or November onwards, whenever it does start, you start with the COVID pluses, then the other vaccines keep on coming in. So it's a consistent bump up that you keep on getting via this partnership for the next foreseeable future.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Therefore, Ms. Shaw, my question, you've shown patience, I presume, while you are building these building blocks for FY 2021, wherein the profit growth wasn't as strong. The 9 month thus far as well, it's not quite being gangbusters compared to what you did in 9 month 21 as well. You reckon FY 22 to 24 or current month onwards or current quarter onwards for the next couple, at least, is the return to mean of sorts, wherein profit growth starts coming in leaps and bounds for Biocon?
Yeah, I do believe that we are now, sort of tracking well. I think we will end this fiscal on a strong growth trajectory. And that is what is going to carry us into the future. And Neeraj, you will understand that this is a business that has a number of dynamics at play, which is further compounded by the COVID pandemic.
Sure.
If the COVID pandemic hadn't, disrupted various parts of everyone's business, I think we would be in a very different place at this point in time. But we have had many setbacks. We have had many delays. So going forward, I believe that much of this can be behind us. And we have a very exciting pipeline of biosimilars, generics. And I think that we are poised to see a very sustainable growth going forward from FY23.
Perfect. Looking forward to that, Ms. Shaw, and congratulations on very strong top line growth and of course the adjustments that you spoke about. And thanks so much for speaking to us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.